Kilo 6 Mike Yankee Charlie, Delta Mike 07, warming up for the 222 Bozo Net, pointing toward the west, looking into Santa Cruz area.
KD6, that's okay.
Well, hello, Fred. KD6SOK 507. Good evening. KD6SOK K6MYC. How are you doing? Doing good.
I'm not doing too bad. I'm doing okay. It's finally cooled off. We got cool weather in. Coming into the Bay Area, we had fog this morning. It was overcast, and it's starting to cool off right now. So after the last 2 weeks of the heat wave, it seems like it's finally over. Got a great signal, a little bit fluttery, but that's okay. Here, still super strong, 20 over 9, so great signal tonight, Mike. And I hope your day was okay, too. Back to you, KD6SOK.
Yeah, Roger, Fred. Well, I was off of you a little bit. This should get rid of some of the flutter there. Anyway, it sounded good on the cooling off that you had up there. It wasn't too bad here today. I think we probably touched 100, but maybe not. It got up very close, if not over a little bit, but pretty tolerable. We did end up in the pool toward the end of the day for a few minutes, but overall it's been pretty busy because of all the stuff going on with the assassination a couple of days ago, or attempt anyway, and then the convention on tonight, quite poignant and quite interesting to watch the whole proceedings. and the new selection of his vice president position for J.D. Vance. That's good. Anyway, we've been watching all that, so it's been pretty busy here. We had a good day also working on the repair of the solar system and upgrading our correction, our repair, if you will. We're waiting for the new unit to come in tomorrow, and we'll be ready to install it on the wall in here. And then we can take the old one down and send it back for repair or whatever they want us to do with it. Anyway, we're running on PG&E for the moment anyway. We've got the system online, but it's not working too hard. PG&E is supplying most of the current, but the system is functional, but it can't handle the current that we're drawing through the house. It should be able to do that with ease, but that's where the problem is. It's a charging circuit from the solar panels and all that. The battery charging circuit's working fine, but the conversion from 50 volts to 220 volts is the part that's flaking out. Anyway, we've been working on that. I don't know if I got too much into that the other night, but that should be fixed and done by the end of tomorrow or early Wednesday. A new unit should be arriving here mid-morning to replace the one that's got a problem.
Okay, very good, Mike. Yeah, this weekend was quite depressing. Listen, I had a question for you about air conditioning, since you know about currents and stuff. When you on a typical air conditioning unit, how much power does it draw? Because I was looking at the rates for PG&E. Between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m., it's like 60 cents a kilowatt hour. How much does, like, if you were to run your regular AC off PG&E, it's probably going to be very expensive. How much does, because you have a compressor, a blower, and an exchange fan outside, how much does all that run and cost, do you think? I mean, on electricity. Go ahead, KD6, that's okay.
Okay, I'm not sure I clearly understand the question, Fred. You're talking about how much does it cost to run air conditioning?
Yeah, if you were on just PG&E power per month, how much would it cost?
Well, we're paying between 39 and 50 cents a kilowatt hour. The last time I got a notice in the mail, they told me that I was going to be paying 50 cents because I was such a good solar customer. They were only going to up my bill from 24 cents a kilowatt hour to 50. But it turns out when we figured out how much they were really charging us on the last bill, there was some of it that was charged at 50% and some of it was charged at 39 cents or 40 cents a kilowatt hour. Still pretty expensive, obviously. But yeah, we're running the air conditioning system, running air conditioning in both ends of the house, and we have been for several days. And I do it even when I'm on solar power because we're getting it. The system can handle it with ease. By the way, Judy just went out and looked, and what did you say it was 98? 96. Oh, 96 outside on the patio. So we probably touched 100 earlier, around 5 to 6 today, Fred, but not much more. So it was a little cooler here. A day before yesterday, we had a little rain. We had about 15 drops of rain, and it rained about 1/8 of an inch in coarse gold and places around us here in the hills. So it was kind of a funny little day, but it did warm up, and we still got over 100 by the end of the day. But in the morning when it rained, it was cooler. So I'm not sure I answered your question. I'm not sure I can answer your question other than, yes, we've got compressors. It's a Lennox air conditioning and heating and cooling system. We got 2 of them, one at each end of the house, Fred. And they probably draw 2,500 watts apiece when they're running over.
Okay, so how much does that cost per month? $300 or $400 per month to run one unit?
Yeah, can you do me a favor and get on the frequency? You're very garbled because you're very dull here like this, and it's hard to copy over.
Okay, don't do that. Don't try to do the imitation sound because it screws me up when I try to fine-tune you. Just talk normally and then let me dial you in, okay?
Yeah, I'm kidding. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. No, just tune me in on this frequency, and then you'll be more readable. You've a combination of a little flutter and the garble with the low frequency, and it was difficult. So I missed your last comment. Over.
Okay, yeah. Next time, because you've done that before, don't do that where you're talking like I'm off frequency, because when I try to dial you up, it just confuses me, because I don't know if it's the radio or if it's you. So if you just talk normally, I'll dial you. Just say, dial me in, Fred. That's all you have to do. No, how much does it cost in hundreds of dollars per month for one Lennox unit if you were to run just one AC unit off of PG&E? Because they raised our rates up to 50 cents a kilowatt hour as well. But what does it cost per month? Like $400 a month per unit? So combining the two units for you obviously would be more money, like $800 a month if you were strictly on PG&E. But since you're solar power, but what do you estimate it would cost? Go ahead, Katie. Okay.
Yeah, it would probably be somewhere in that neighborhood, Fred. It's hard to tell. I would have to go back and look at the bill, because up until just about 2 weeks ago, we hadn't run any air conditioning. When we had the 4th of July group here, we did turn on the air conditioning, and it functioned at one end of the house, but only one end. But it wasn't on for a full month, so it would be hard to even look at a bill and see that. But now, if I did it for this period, we should be able to see a significant bump. I would say several $100 bump for what I've done the last 2 weeks using PG&E for power. Over.
Yeah, QSL, that would make sense. Yeah, the last 2 weeks were unbelievably hot here. Even here it was hot. This is the first day, I think. Yeah, the first day it was beautiful weather out. So, anyway, no, it's interesting. And like you said, they've bumped up the rates to 50 cents a kilowatt hour. And I think if you're charging like a Tesla car, now they charge 62 cents a kilowatt hour. They know that because you're on the 220 circuit, so they figured it out. You're charging an electric car, and I don't own an electric car. If I was going to get something that was electric, I would get a hybrid car, because those things are proven and they're very efficient and they get high mileage, and there's never that anxiety if you're going to run out of juice out of you're going to run out of your battery power, because there's always a gas engine there. So anyway, thanks, Mike. I was just curious about the costs and stuff. So thanks for that. Katie, success. Okay.
Yeah, well, and when I get my next month's bill, Fred, I'll be able to give you a better estimate, because we've been on PG&E now for about a week and a half solid. Hasn't been turned off except for occasionally to see if the other system would respond once we put air conditioning on the inverter itself, which we had to do before they would believe that it wasn't a temperature issue. The unit has just failed, and it doesn't matter whether we cool it down with air conditioning. We had it so cold the other day, every vent on it was coming out cold. All the air going through it was still cold when it came out the other side, and it still failed. So it's got a problem. But anyway, I don't have a good estimate. When we get the bill, I'll be able to guesstimate that we were on a PG&E continuous for 15 days, and then I can rate the bill accordingly, and I'll give you a better answer. But I would imagine at the rates that I'm paying, it would be at least $1,000 a month if I was fully on PG&E without any battery augmentation or any solar help at all. I'm getting help from the solar, but not much. The solar power is the batteries are being charged to 100%, mostly by PG&E. And about 50% of the battery charge comes from the solar, so I'm not using much of the sun to do what we're doing right now. Most of it's PG&E. It's difficult to evaluate that and understand how that works, but just the way the system works, Fred. Anyway, let's see if there's anybody else that's collected on frequency, and you're gradually drifting onto the right frequency here. You're still a little bit low at the end of that, but it was readable. KD6S, okay, for your final comments there, and you didn't comment on the choice of J.D. Vance for the vice presidency by Trump. Maybe you're not interested, or you didn't know about that. Over.
I heard about it, but they're all good. I mean, you got Tim Scott, he's good. I mean, you can flip a coin. Those guys all those VP picks are Rubio. They're all good guys. So it's hard to say one way or the other. I thought it was going to be Rubio myself because he's kind of like a little bulldog. He just gets out there, So it's either way, it's going to be fine. I think. Trump's a smart guy. He'll figure it out. I have friends of mine that live in Germany. I want to go back on electricity for just a second. And they charge because they're getting rid of all their nuclear power in Germany. Going back to coal, this is insane. They charge in Germany, it's 80 cents a kilowatt hour. Can you imagine that? I mean, no wonder those people are suffering over there. And like if you go to Paris, nobody has air conditioning in Paris. And that's a Mediterranean climate. They just don't have it over there because it's so expensive. Anyway, I said enough. So I'll say 7-3 and let somebody else jump in on the net. So Katie 6, that's okay. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know it's some of the countries just don't have the facility to make power reasonably. Okay, QRZ Bozo Net 222. We're beaming into the Bay Area. Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie and the group 222 Bozo Net looking for check-ins.
Yes.
Well, hi, Russ. Good to hear you. You're off frequency also, a little bit low in frequency, but we're copying you. Okay, how you been? We haven't heard you for a couple of weeks. I assume you've recovered from your heart surgery. You sounded pretty good 9 days after you were in the hospital for 9 days and you came out. You sounded pretty good. So I assume everything's been okay ever since. And you've been just getting back to your exuberant lifestyle there. Hi. K6KLY, and then we'll pick up the other breaker as well, K6MYC.
Yeah, okay, Mike. Yeah, just recovering here. Getting a little better every day. I'm hoping to be able to start driving here pretty soon. So that's the scoop, and good to be on here. K6KLY.
Okay, boy, you took a monster fade in the middle of that. You may have turned away from the mic or something, but glad to know that you're feeling better. And Russ's K6KLY number 111, right, Russ?
Hey, you took a dip there. What was your question?
Holy cow. Band's going through some wild perturbations here. I just asked you to repeat your Bozo number, Russ. Over.
Okay, 111, 111, 111, over.
Got it that time, yeah, 100%. Real loud on that one, so the band just doing some very, very funny ups and downs here. You faded right out for about 3 words. It was unbelievable. Anyway, good to hear you, and thanks very much for checking in here. Good to hear you. Maybe we'll even hear you tomorrow night on 1296. Who was the other check-in that I heard there? Go ahead, please. Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie and the 222 Bozo Net.
KW6S, Santa Cruz.
I hear you. Okay, let me come back your way, Tom. We started out your way, but I went away from you when I didn't hear you. KW6 Sugar, KW6S. That should be a little better. K6MYC 610.
226 is here too.
Good evening there, Ken. Yeah, Mike, things going well here. Nice weather. I didn't do much radio over the weekend. I was going to do the IRU contest and didn't. And otherwise, just enjoying life.
Very good, and you should be. And I know your weather's cool over there as well. Very good. Well, hang on a second. We'll get Ken in here and have him say hello to you as well. WA6OIB. WA6OIB 226. Go ahead, Ken. K6MYC.
Yeah, good evening, Mike, and the rest of the gang. WA6OIB is here, and doing all right, I guess. Boy, everybody's loud tonight, and everybody's strong, and no. The only thing was it? Who was it? Fred, I guess. Was it Fred? Somebody faded out a little bit, but then he came right back, so it wasn't too bad. Okay, just wanted to check in. I'll be back in a bit. I'll run down the band and see about Ralph, and I'll be back.
Yeah, okay. If you get a hold of Ralph, give him our best wishes, hopefully. And one of these days he can come up on this frequency and check in. If I know he's coming, I can turn that way. but I don't turn down that way at the beginning of the net, even though I could. If he was right there at 7:30, I could work him easily. So you might mention that to him, that if he'd like to check in, I'd be happy to look for him right at 7:30 when we start the net, or 5 minutes before, up to about 7:35, and then we start having to go to the Bay Area. Good to hear you, Ken. WA60IB. It was good to have dinner with you the other evening as well, even though it was a little noisy in there for my old ears. WA60IB up to you, and then up to Tom K6MYC.
Okay, real good. Yeah, I'll mention that to him, and good evening to you, Tom, over there. Good, solid signal as usual. All right, WA60IB, I'll be back.
Very good, Ken. Always good to hear you. WA60IB, KW6S, and back to you, Mike. Nothing much else going on.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Tom. And I guess we don't have any 220 equipment in the hands of Lee over there yet, so we won't be able to stand by for him. I heard some other breakers, so I'm going to move the antenna back up into the Bay Area, like that, and find out who the other 220 breakers were, guys. Go ahead, please. Check-ins, 222 Bozo Net, over.
Hey,
WA6AXX.
I was in the kitchen and I just came back because I heard his call sign. Was that him, Ken?
Hang on a second, Ed. What was the question, Fred?
Was that OIB, Ken?
Yeah, that was OIB down here in Clovis, yes.
Sorry, I stepped out to the kitchen. I was going to make something to eat, and I heard him. He's very strong tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, but he was just about to turn down at 7:45 or 7:45. We've got a tentative schedule all the time with Ralph down there, K6TSK in Anaheim. So one of our guys usually turns down that way and works Ralph, who's Bozo number 3. I think he's the only one that we can. Bozo number 1 has passed away, Bozo number 2 has moved away, and Bozo number 3 is the lowest number on the totem pole of the Bozo members, so it's always good to get Ralph in here. And he's very active, much like I am. Us two old guys don't have anything else to do but call nets. Hi. Anyway, good evening to you, Ed. WA6AXX, WA6 Alpha X-ray 773, K6MYC. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, very good. Yeah, nothing much going on here. Went up to 72. So very nice. The house has been cooling down. Takes a few days of cooler weather to heat out of all the walls and everything, but a very, very nice day. That's about it. K6MYC, WA6AXX.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, it wasn't too bad here. I think we touched 100, but Judy just looked at the temperature gauge before she came in the shack around 7:30, and it was 96. So it obviously had to get either to 100 or within a degree or so around 5:30 or 5 o'clock when it peaks here. But it was a nice day. It wasn't. It didn't boil our brains out. We didn't do much work outside. In fact, I didn't do much work except, well, we did work in the barn a little while. We had some woodworking to do in the barn and a few other little loose end things that we cleaned up. But basically didn't spend too much time in the heat. We've got a new air conditioning unit that was donated by a Bozo member, and we had it running while we were in the barn, and that, of course, made life a little easier, and we'll be using it again tomorrow night when we go out to the barn for the 1296 net, Ed. Anyway, good to hear you. You sounded good, and I'm glad it cooled down for you up there as well. Did you get any rain?
Oh, no rain.
Okay, because we got a little sprinkle here, but north of us in Coarse Gold and around the area and in the mountains, and all the way up into San Andreas and so on, they all had a little rain from that last little thing a couple of 3 days ago that came through. And our temperatures dropped. We actually had a day that didn't get to 100, I don't think. Anyway, good to hear you. Let's see, who else do we have in the Bay Area? I said here W6PQL and perhaps one or two others. K6MYC Bozo Net.
Howdy there. W6PQL.
Okay, two of you there. Jim, hang on a second. Who was the other one? We have W6PQL. Who was the other?
Kilowatt 6, Whiskey India Sugar.
Oh, very strong signal from Placerville. You're as strong as as Jim is over here, Paul. Hang on just a second. Let me get it to Jim, and you can see if you guys can hear each other, and then we'll get it up your way. W6 Papa Queen London 1296 K6 MYC. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, Paul's almost as strong as you are over here, and I'm not pointed at him at all. I'm pointed at you. So we must have pretty good conditions going up that way. Well, boy, it's sure nice to have the weather give us a little break. We had a couple of heat waves back to back, and I don't have to run the air conditioner for a few days now. It looks like it's going to stay on the cool side. We get that marine layer coming in here, so today it wasn't bad at all. It got up to 81, but briefly, and stayed in the 70s most of the day, so I'm glad of that. I was getting a little tired of it. K6NYC, W6PQL.
Yeah, well, we don't worry about it here, but it would be nice if we had one of those. But we won't get one of those days. That's such a rare day. It's like going to 130 here on the other side of the scale. If it never got up to 80 degrees in Fresno on some day in the summer, everybody would die they'd freeze to death. Anyway, good to hear you, and good enough signal to hear you fine. Not real. What was that? 226. No, that's 1296. 1296 is Jim. And we should get Jim WB6JNN in here, and then we'll have pretty much everybody that has 222 in the Bay Area. So, Jim, let's see. Jim WB6JNN, are you here? K6MYC? Okay, nothing heard from Jim yet. He was in here last night. Okay, over to you, Paul. K6 Whiskey India Sugar 637, K6MYC. Over.
226 is back.
Yeah, good evening, Mike, and I can hear Ken in there, WA6OIB, and good evening to Jim PQL, 557. Pretty good signals all around up into the foothills here from the Bay Area. Got a relay check-in from N1PPP again, so Mike, if you could check him in. And your signal is 5x5 here, K6MYC from K6WIS, over.
Yeah, I think you're stronger than that. You're very solid here, just like a local in here. And we got, did you hear the N1PPP call in? N1PPP 336. And very good, Paul, and fine on hearing Ken. Ken, you want to say hello to Paul on the back chatter path? And I know you've got Ralph also, right?
Yes, I did. And good evening, Paul. Yeah, you've got an S4 signal here on the bounce path, which is more than usual. So good copy, good solid copy. And Ralph said hello, and he's busy doing other things during that time. So quarter till is when he shows up in this direction. So that's his routine. All right, WA6OIB. Good evening, Paul.
Thanks, Ken. WA6OIB, K6WIS, 5x4 to 5x5. Pretty good bounce path signal from you there.
Okay, and thanks for the relay check-in there, Paul. And maybe if you stick around, we'll see you on a direct path in just a few more minutes. And then I hope to hear you on 6 meters as well in a few minutes. Very good. We had an opening today on 6 meters, by the way, and I told a whole bunch of guys I was pointed north because I had the antenna up north for our 40-meter communications with the Maritime Mobile Station, our friend K7VO that we have been trying to catch on his boat there. Anyway, I had the antenna north, and then also was the 6-meter antenna rotator. So I was looking north, and all of a sudden I hear a guy calling CQ on 50.125. I almost fell off my chair. It was a 100-watt and a wire station in Seattle. So the conditions were good. I looked up at the scope, and God, the FT8 signals were right up against the top rail of the spectrum analyzer. So signals were huge on FT8. And we proceeded to work 3 or 4 other stations, and I invited them all to join in tonight on 50.140 at 8:45 or 8:15 actually, 8:15 to 8:30. So we might have some foreigners coming in on us from Canada and from Seattle area. Anyway, good to hear you, Paul. And let me see, do we have anybody else in the Bay Area? We're looking for WB6JNN or anybody else. Over.
I wanted to say hi to Jim.
Go ahead.
W6PQL, WA6OIB, wanted to say hi.
Oh, I can. Yeah, a little fluttery, but S7, so signals are good. Just unstable path, I guess. But I've been copying you on every band pretty well. So you must be doing something right over there.
Yeah, okay, you're S7 to S8, you were fluttering, then it quit. You're solid at the end there, so I heard the flutter at the beginning too, but you're solid, solidified. Okay, just wanted to say hi. Thank you, Mike, for the break.
Okay, very good, and good signal. You actually got stronger on that for me, Jim. W6PQL with one last listen for anybody in the Bay Area. We're missing WB6JNN, so somebody's got to prod him. He may be out for a walk or something, or maybe his daughter is there and he's off his schedule. I don't hear Jim, so maybe he'll pop in later. Or if you hear him at all, Jim, PQL, you can tell me that you heard him and you can tell me that on 6 meters later. All right, let me go on up to Oakley and see. We missed our friend Ken last night. He didn't show up at all, which was kind of weird. N6RO, N6 Radio Oscar K6MYC. Ken? N6RO, N6 Radio Oscar. I wonder if he made it through the weekend.
711.
Okay, there's John. Good evening, John. 711, 711, K6 Mexico, Italy. Take one, John.
And hello to Judy as well. K6TSK was checked in by Ken and myself, or we checked in with Ralph. Down 10, so that was good. Signals are good tonight. I'm still pointed south. K6MI.
Well, it's a good direction. I'm pointed toward the Bay Area, and you're booming it, and so who knows what these patterns are doing when we get bounce paths. We got good bounce path and good propagation tonight, so signals are probably bouncing all over the place. Paul from Placerville, when I'm pointed toward the Bay Area, it was just as loud as anybody in the Bay Area, just a booming signal, and much steadier. He doesn't hit the flutter and stuff that they get, so it's kind of a weird path. Anyway, it's all above the inversion, I guess, because he comes off of Mount Diablo or Tamalpais or one of those, and his propagation to me is probably all above the inversion layers, so there's very little flutter. Anyway, good evening, John. You're sounding good, and hopefully we'll also see you for a couple minutes on 6 meters there. K6MI for your final, K6MYC.
We'll look for you on 6. Yeah, PQL was very fluttery, but very strong off the back of the beams. So very good conditions. K6MI.
All righty, very good. Okay. By the way, John, Judy says hi to you. I had the volume up so loud I couldn't hear her. I'm letting her hear the speaker, and I'm not sure if it's too loud for her, but it's too loud for me to hear a conversation in the shack. Anyway, she says hi. Good to have a chance to see you at the meeting the other evening and all. Okay, I'm still looking toward Oakley for N6 Radio Oscar, and I hope Ken is okay. He had a funny contest this weekend, but when he didn't show up last night, that was kind of odd, and tonight on 222, he's not showing up here either. I'm worried that maybe he's maybe fell ill or something. Hopefully not. N6RO, K6MYC.
Break, this is K6WIS.
Okay, I can hear you, Paul, but I'm off of you. Let me just go back just a little bit, and I can get you on the direct path. Okay, go ahead, Paul. Say it again.
Yes, I forgot to mention with my QSO with Dave, N1PPP, he got a bit of news from Ken, KA6OSX, Kent. He got his radios back. Apparently, the thief tried to sell them off at a pawn shop, and the dealer, or the owner of the pawn shop, smelled a rat, and he got his radios back. Over.
I'll be darned. Well, that's fantastic news. And tell me again, the pawn shop owner found a sticker or something in there that said KA6OSX, and the guy got a hold of him, did he?
Well, I don't know by what method, but anyway, he smelled some suspicion with these radios, which were trying to be all sold in one big bunch. So anyway, that's great news. So he wasn't on the air on 222 tonight, but we hope to hear him soon there, Mike. This is K6WIS, over.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that when they were stolen, some of the cables were screwed up or lost or damaged, so it's going to take him a little while, but that's great news. Good to have that stalwart KA6OSX back on. He's been pounding away at weak signal VHF for many, many years. We hated to lose him there, so I'm glad that worked out. That's a funny way to get your radios back. I've heard of that happening one other time, and it's been so long I can't remember the details, but I remember somebody else telling me that they did find their radios one time in a pawn shop, or at least some of them. So that does happen. Anyway, thanks for that good news, Paul. K6WIS still with another pause for N6 Radio Oscar, K6MYC. Ken, are you there? Okay, no Ken. I'm going to go up to Sacramento here. There's up to KJ6KFB. KJ6KFB, I wonder if you're copying me tonight, Darren. KJ6KFB West Sacramento, Southwest Sacramento, I guess. K6MYC, over. Okay, nothing heard there. Let me go on up to KO6KD, who we did work this morning. And we should have signals from you, Bill. Hopefully you're in there tonight. KO6KD, 222, Bozo Net, K6MYC.
Yeah, K6MYC in the Bozo group, KO6KD returning. Hopefully you're copying me all right. Marginal conditions tonight, but I am reading you. K6MYC from KO6KD, Bozo number 776, over.
Yeah, well, you're not marginal. You probably just heard me when I was just not pointed at you. You're quite good copy here, quite solid. A little flutter. I may not have quite the path correction that we need in here. Sometimes I'm not sure which way. Tonight the antenna's right where it's supposed to be. The other night everybody was skewed. I haven't readjusted anything, and now everybody tonight I'm coming in the best, pointed where they're supposed to be. So it's a good thing I didn't change the calibration the other evening, Bill. Anyway, interesting news with J.D. Vance being picked as Trump's running mate. That's a good choice, I think, over.
Well, I don't know much about the guy. I was kind of hoping that it would be the other fellow who was older, but I don't know the names of these people. But I know he's got an interesting past. He was not a supporter, but now I guess he is, and so they'll be uncovering his if there's any skeletons in his closet. But I do like the fact that he is a former vet and has served military time. I am glad for that, and I think that's important when it comes to it. So anyway, we'll see how it plays out. And but it's interesting. Trump is at the convention tonight. He has some bandaging material over his right ear, and they're showing close-ups of him. You can certainly tell that all
all of this. You can just tell that he's starting to look. He's looking tired, and looks like it's starting to have an effect on him. I hope it's not permanent, but anyway. That's it for me. I'll see you in the morning if you'll be around. But good evening to the net and everybody. KO6KD.
Okay. Did I hear another voice in the background? Did anybody else hear another voice?
756.
Say it again. Is that you, Darren? Okay, we got you now. KJ6 Kilo Foxtrot Bravo. KJ6 KFB, we hear you now. I moved the antenna back toward you a little bit, Darren. And 756, 756, we got you. Make a transmission. Let's see how copy is. Bill was going up and down like a yo-yo. I don't know whether it's going to be the same for you or not. KJ6 KFB, Southwest Sacramento, K6MYC, over. Struggling with you, Darren. I heard you come back, and then I lost you completely. The band just went completely out. So the band is really struggling here to give us propagation. Anyway, we've got you checked in, Darren. We do have you checked in, 756 KJ6 KFB. Thank you very much, Darren, and we'll look for you perhaps on 6. Look for you on 6 meters in a few minutes there. KJ6KFB, if you're copying my 800 watts, K6MYC, over. Okay, back up to you, Bill. And you were in and out also. You were right. Boy, the band is not very good tonight. Up and down, and monster fades. Monster fades on about a 10 to 15 second cycle. 10 to 15 seconds, and you're up and you're gone. Over.
Hello, Bill.
Hello, I think that was Ken. Okay, very good. Yeah, I know it's up and down quite a bit. So, anyway, I will not keep it. Hopefully you will be able to hear me on 6 meters here in a little bit. So, I'll say good evening to one and all. Have a very good evening, and 7-3, we'll see you hopefully on 6 meters. And good evening, Ken, if that was you, KO6KD.
Yeah, good evening, Bill. Good to hear you. WA60IB. Not a bad signal at all.
There you are. Yeah, good evening, Ken. Yep, you're sounding good here as well. Nice signal. Good S9 here. So, okay, well, 7-3s, guys. Nice to hear you, and I'll get out of the way, and we'll look for you on 6 meters here in a while. KO6KD, 7-3s.
And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, on 40 meters. By the way, apparently, according to N7TSK that we talked to this morning on 40, Bob did try to break in. But I did not hear him. He must have broken in when you guys were talking, because he probably wasn't hearing you guys. And both of you with your even 100 watts, you were S9, it would have covered any weak signal from Bob. I didn't hear him. He didn't make a lot of effort to get in there from the sound of it. Anyway, see you tomorrow. We'll see you a little bit later on 6. Hopefully it won't be too bad on 6, and then we'll see you tomorrow morning on 40 meters, Bill. KO6KD, K6MYC. Anybody else for the Bozo Net before I go to Nevada? K6MYC. pretty quiet. So let's go to Nevada. Okay, here we are into Nevada, N7TSK, N7 Tango Sugar Kilo, N7TSK, or KE7UQL, Kilo Echo 7, Uniform Quebec London, KE7UQL or N7TSK, K6MYC calling and standing by.
Here is 272 KE7UQL. Hello there.
Okay, we got you, Daniel. Not real strong, but Q5. Ken, are you copying Daniel there?
Yep, I sure am. Good evening, Daniel. KE7UQL, WA60IB, over.
Hello, WA60IB. Howdy, Ken. KE7UQL here.
Yep, you're about an S5 here. Not bad at all, over.
Roger, thank you. You're sounding good on this end, over.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Good to hear you. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, very good, Daniel. Have you heard anything from Larry tonight, over?
Everything's quiet on the northern front, over.
Okay, well, I'll give him one more call. Maybe he'll show up on 6 meters. The band has been active today. I worked 3 or 4 stations on 6 meters at about noon today, or a little bit before noon. So that was kind of exciting, and they were all on phone, of all things. Some W7s, 2 or 3 W7s, and a couple of Victor Echo 7s. So the band was open with, and these guys were not big stations. They were small stations. Nobody with 100 watts even, and very tiny antennas. Only one guy had a Yagi. So it was kind of funny. But anyway, I invited them to check in tonight on 50.140, because we'll be pointed north for Nevada like we are for you right now. We'll leave it this way. And we'll be back in here in just a few minutes for the 6 meter go, Daniel. 7-3, Daniel, thanks very much, and we'll certainly look for you tomorrow night on 1296. KE7UQL 272, K6MYC, over.
Roger, roger. We will see you on 1296 tomorrow, KE7UQL 73.
Okay, 73. Too bad you don't have 6 meters. You could listen in tonight.
Well, I will put up 6 meters for the weekend of the 20th and 21st for the CQ contest, over.
Yeah, okay. Very good, very good. There have been some openings. The band's been opening with E-Skip here pretty regularly, so there's been quite a bit of activity and the booming, roaring signals. The signals were going right to the top of the scale here on the spectrum analyzer on the FT8 mode. Big, strong signals in both sequences of transmission. So I was hearing both sides of the transmissions. 7-3 for now. We'll see you tomorrow, if not sooner, Daniel. KE7UQL with a one more pause for N7 Whiskey Tango, K6MYC. Okay, I guess Larry isn't there. I'm going to go back to the Bay Area quickly to see if we can get WB6JNN. Here we go. QRZ 222, QRZ, we're looking for N6RO, we're looking for N6RO and WB6JNN. N6RO or WB6JNN, K6MYC, calling and listening.
W6PQL here, and number 52 is there tonight.
I'm sorry, who was there, Jim? You're a little off frequency.
52.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, thanks for that. And I guess you're not hearing anybody else. I'm a little worried about Ken. He never misses here. N6RO, I hope he's not ill. The other possibility is that they have lost power up there, but that's not likely. So I'm a little bit worried about N6RO. You know, he's the same age as I am, and both of us have 1 foot in the grave, Jim. Over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, who was it that just checked in? Somebody checked in with Ken over there. It was one of those fellows. It was either Bill or Ken. It might have been Bill.
And you heard somebody check in with Bill? I heard KJ6KFB.
Well, I think it was Bill, and he checked in with Ken.
Oh, yeah, I heard him check in Ken. He heard Ken fine. Okay, well, we'll put Steve down. W6QIW. W6QIW. Number 52. And that's Steve. And thank you for that, Jim, and we'll see you in a few minutes on 6 meters there. W6PQL, K6MYC with one last call for WB6JNN or N6RO. Nothing heard. Going to 6 meters. Here we go. 50.140. Richard. I think I had the volume down, Ken. I didn't realize I had the volume turned down. I may have talked over you, or were you? Was it just you picked it up as soon as I let go of the mic?
No, he and I were talking, and he was talking at the time, and you just came on. So turn the volume up.
Yeah, I thought it while I was listening to the volume on 222, and I guess that's why I thought I was hearing the noise. I thought I had enough noise leaking out at low level to hear it, but I guess I didn't. Sorry about that. Anyway, we got KD6SOKT. KD6BQ is 249. 249. This is on the 6 meter net now, and that's Richard. And of course Kim. WA60IB again. 226.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta get on the other. Okay.
You should be on 6 meters now.
Meters now. Yeah, but I'm not.
Oh, you don't want to write them on this one. Well, let's see here. We're looking for Larry also, so we'll take a standby and see if Larry's in there. N7WT, where are you, Larry? K6MYC, Bozo Net, Delta Mike 07. Did you hear my comments about the 6 meter band being open? And I work 4 or 5 stations on 50.125 today, Ken.
Yes, I heard the story twice already.
Okay. Well, it's unusual to hear anybody there. You know, I've listened months and I haven't heard anybody, and all of a sudden I work 5 guys in one day.
Yeah, I got on there the other day and worked a couple too that were on sideband. So, and I praised him for it.
Yeah, that was interesting. Of course, I was running smoke up their way and all. They were all hearing me really well, I guess. And so I got quite a few guys. One of the VE7s was his frequency. It wasn't his frequency, but he had the initial control. I would talk to him first, and then this other 7 called me, and I said, just quickly so we don't interfere with the Canadian, and he made a quick contact, and the Canadian didn't get anybody else, so we continued there for a while, off and on. Had quite a few guys in Seattle and around Washington State call in. It wasn't a major, well, it was a pretty big opening. If they had had big stations, we would have seen 10, 15, 20 overnight signals. Because the FT8 signal was just right up against the peak here. Anyway, we should have Ben in here. We should have KD6, KC5DTU, hopefully.
I'll be all right. KM6SR. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Ken.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Okay. Hi, Rob. Let me get Judy going on the right page here.
I think the other one was Daryl. How you doing, Daryl?
Daryl, are you in here? KG6 Charlie Echo Fox? No.
Well, I guess I didn't know the voice. Anyway, hello, whoever it was.
Don't be shy. Come on back. Somebody down south, I heard voices, WA60IB and K6MYC, the Bozo Net, north and south.
Yeah, we're still straightening out the 6-meter log here. We'll be right with you.
Okay, B6RQU, great to hear you. Yeah, you sounded great. Good, solid signal tonight. Good evening.
Who are you talking to, Ken?
Okay, all right. KB6R2U, WA60IB. Yeah, he's busy with a log right now, but you are checked in.
Okay, well, let me turn around his way. Hang on. I'll turn down his way and get Rick in here. I haven't talked to him on 6 for quite a while. Let me go his way. Hang on.
I'm sorry about that. KB6RQU, WA60IB. He'll settle down in a minute, and we'll be able to hear him. How are things down there in the Southland?
Yeah, I'm rotating now.
2694.
KB6RQU.
Hello, Mr. Ben.
Hello there. I guess we're supposed to have good sunspots today, but I didn't get to try out anything.
Well, 6 was open a little bit around noonish.
I'm sorry, I guess I missed it.
Yeah, 125, a lot of sideband stations. Good evening, Ben. WB6 GBS. WB6 GBS. What is it, 694, Ben?
Right, 694.
What do you have up for 6?
I just have the little cheap 3-element beam from M Square.
Oh, well, that should work okay for you. But you got to have the radio on in order to hear people.
I guess I missed that point.
I think I'm looking right at you because you're 40 over here, Ben.
Oh, wow. Thank
Thanks for the report. Yes.
Well, you guys are next door neighbors, for heaven's sake. Let me see if I can hear Rick. Rick, are you copying me? And sorry we missed you last night on 2 meters. Hopefully we'll hear you on Wednesday and Thursday on 432. KB6RQU, Bozo 61, K6MYC.
Yeah, KB6RQ, yeah, good evening. Yeah, I've been hearing you, Mike, even before you turned the antenna there, and was giving some calls, and I finally got in there, checked me in. Very good, over.
Yeah, well, you were hearing my power off the back of the antenna. I was pointed due north there. Good to hear you. And hopefully we'll hear you on Wednesday and Thursday. What do you think?
There's a good chance.
Okay, good. We'll look for you. How's your weather down there? Did you get any of that rain?
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes maybe. Cool things off a little nice. I like that.
Yeah, we all like that. We got about 15 drops. We had 6-inch rain here. The drops were 6 inches apart. Over.
Oh, wow. I was inside when it was going on, and then when I went when the radio rode to the house, the wife said it hailed, and I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, we also had thunder and lightning pretty severe, and I know some of the guys up here were worried about fires, but no, apparently it didn't start any fires. Most of it seemed to be sheet lightning up in the clouds. Over.
Yeah, that's probably true there. I had most of my antennas disconnected during that time.
Oh, okay. Because of the lightning?
Yeah.
Have you been getting a lot of that down there?
Well, I could hear it in the receiver. I didn't know how close it was getting, so I decided to do the smart thing.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, good to hear you here, and hopefully we'll hear you the rest of the week here. Rick, thanks for checking in with us. Sorry I didn't catch you. Well, again, I'm starting the net on 6 meters pointed due north, and we come around to you eventually at the end of the net now on 6, but we can always spin like we did tonight to catch you here, because I cannot hear you at all without the antenna turned toward you high. KB6RQU going back to the north. This is K6MYC going back north.
Very good, Mike. 73 Stu. I'll catch you later.
73. Anybody else for Rick before we let him go?
Of course. Good evening, Rick. KB6RQU. This is Kilo Mike 6, Sierra Romeo Romeo.
Hey, Rob. Hope you're keeping cool there, too. Over.
Well, not a whole bunch. We lost our air conditioner upstairs where my shack is in the loft, but we're managing okay. Over.
There you go.
KB6RQU, KM6SR 73.
Okay, I'm going to take this low to exit stage left, so see you guys later. WA60IB is going to get back in the house.
Good day, Ken. WA60IB, KM6SR 73.
73, Rob. Take care.
Okay, I'm back north again.
Okay, good night there. Gonna hit for the barn. I'm right in the middle of the online course for re-upping my flight instructor certificate, so I got to get back to it. It's got to be done by this Saturday.
Okay. Are you on a different radio tonight? Your audio sounds a little soft or muffled or something.
Maybe in a wall here. I'm bringing the beam back around towards you.
Well, no, I heard it no matter where I was pointed. It just sounded like you were sort of muffled, but it might be my muffled ears. Over.
Nothing's changed here. It's Kenwood, and it's always had good audio.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just commenting. Very good. 7-3. Enjoy. We'll see you tomorrow. No, we won't. unless you want to try 1296.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I've got other things going on anyway. And Rob, you've got a trained ear. How do I sound over your place?
I sound pretty good, but I don't know how trained my ears are. Over.
I thought you trained them. Okay. All right. See you guys later. Have a good evening. WA60IB.
Good night, Ken.
What is it?
Okay, I hear a lot of chatter in the background here, and I heard 272. Was that you, Daniel? Who am I hearing in the background here? This is Mike, Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie, net control for the Bozo Net on 50.140 here. Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie. I'm in Delta Mike 07. Who's the station talking on the frequency, please? Identify. Over. Okay, I guess he doesn't want to be heard or doesn't want to be don't join her or something. He was talking. I heard him give a Bozo number. I thought I heard 272. Who is it?
I bet I can hear anybody up here.
Yeah, whoever's talking, you're so weak. You must speak slowly and clearly, and just give me your call sign first. Just call sign, or if you have a Bozo number, give your Bozo number 2 or 3 times. You're extremely weak, and I have a little power line noise. Over. Apparently you don't think I'm talking to you, but I can't identify you because you haven't given me a call sign that I could copy. My call is Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie. If you would just say my call, then I can tune my ears to your audio. K6MYC, Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie, standing by. Please come back. Has anybody else heard that station? How about you, Richard?
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything else up here. So maybe to the north, Montana.
You must have turned the antenna, Richard. I've got no readability on you. I can tell you're in there, but no readability. Over. Okay, one more try for Larry in 7 Whiskey Tango, K6MYC. Larry? Okay, I'm going to go down to Sacramento area then.
Hey, Mike, I got a text from Ben. I'm going to try to give him a call down in Bakersfield.
GGY, Whiskey, Baker 6, Golf, Yankee, Bozo 884.
I hear you.
M6SRR. You hear you okay, Ben? Over.
We got WB6GGY in there. Go ahead, Phil.
Bozo 884, and WB6GGY. Very good, Mike. Very good. WB6GGY. And I'll get out of your way and let you continue on with the net. WB6GGY. Back to net.
Okay, Phil. Very difficult copy. You're very, very weak for some reason. I don't know why. I pointed at you. When I was pointed due north, you were a pretty good copy, but it might have been that I had less noise. And so I had better signal-to-noise ratio, even though the signal was weaker. But right now, I didn't get any copy at all on that last transmission, except 73. So we'll let you go. Thanks for checking in. And we'll look for you in the morning and wait for your comments about J.D. Vance there. WB6GGY 884, K6MYC clear, and QRZ for Sacramento.
And W2WRX. Bozo 939.
Ben, N6SWR, this is Kilo Mike 6, Sierra Romeo Romeo. You got a copy, over?
Who are you talking to, Rob?
Ben, N6SWR. He gave me a text that he's got his 6-meter wire up, so I was trying to copy him, over.
Oh, that Ben. I thought you were trying to work GBS. Okay. Can you hear him at all? Give him another couple of calls. He should hear your kilowatt, Rob, over.
Yeah, he just texted me. He said he didn't hear me and asked if I didn't hear him, which I didn't. So I guess it's not going to work, over.
Okay, 6-meter wire. What is it, a dipole or just a long piece of wire?
It's a wire, I believe.
Okay. Well, I could spin down that way, but unfortunately I just got back up north. We're having a lot of trouble here. Maybe that was him I was hearing coming in on the back of the beam. Ben's number is 247. I thought I heard something like 272, but it might have been Ben. If you could text him, tell him I'll spin down that way right now and see if we can make it. You want to do that, Rob?
Well, I guess we can, but I hate to interrupt the net with you. He was fine just giving it a try, over.
He was what?
He was fine with just giving it a try, over.
Oh, okay. Very good. I'm sure wondering where Kerry is. He was supposed to call me Sunday, and he didn't call me Sunday and didn't call me today either. But today, of course, his wife was in for her toe operation, so he was probably pretty busy. I thought he might have had some downtime while she was in the surgery, though. Anyway, nothing from Kerry, and he hasn't been on the air for quite a while. I guess he's had some problem with the power supply in the shack. That's why he hasn't been on the air. So nothing from Kerry. Now let's see, who else do we have in here? K6MYC Bozo Net.
Whiskey Radio W6BBS 72.
Okay. W6BBS, number 72. Good evening, Frank. Hang on a second, because somebody else was in there with you. Who was the other one?
And Whiskey 2, Whiskey Romeo X-Ray.
W2WRX also. W2WRX. And that was, what's your number, Carl? 294?
Yes, sir, 294. Aloha.
Aloha. Good to hear you on 6 meters here. Nice to have you back on a regular basis, Carl. Thank you.
Roger, roger. Yeah, there's a couple of guys up here. I'm just going to take a standby, and nice talking to you again on 6 meter there, Mike. W2WRX, back to net control.
Yeah, well, I worked 4 or 5 guys on the 50.125 frequency today around noon, so you might want to keep your ear on 6 meters. Those guys are starting to come back to the sideband mode, over.
Roger, roger. Okay, will do. Thank you for the info there, Mike.
Okay, very good, Carl. Good to hear you. And Frank, over to you for a quickie, and then we'll see who else. So I think there was one other one in there as well. Okay, W6 Bravo Sierra. Let's see, I had something. Oh, did you ever hear back from Signature?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay, we're good. No, I did not, Mike. They did not call me, and so I figured we'll hit them first thing in the morning. It's the only thing we can do. And, yeah, only about 900 watts right now, but that's good enough for the moment. Good evening, one and all. No traffic, Mike, W6BBS.
Okay, well, I'm disappointed that they aren't following up with what they should be doing.
Yep, there's not much we can do about it at this point, but tomorrow I'll call them first thing in the morning, which is a couple hours. They'll already be open a couple hours down there, so we'll see what we can't get going.
Yeah, get them before they go to lunch or something.
Yeah, Yeah, apparently Dylan did not understand that we have that inverter coming tomorrow, and we need to be done with whatever testing they want to do when it gets here. We need to get back online, and they got to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty, we'll chat about it in the morning. Those sensitive people listening to our solar woes. K6MYC, good evening to you, Judy, W6BBS.
And good evening to you.
There you go. Okay, Frank, very good. Now, who else do we have in here? I'm pointed due north at the moment, but I'm going to go towards Sacramento and see if we can pick up a few friends there. Anybody copying me in this direction, come now. Kilowatt 6 Mike Yankee Charlie, 6-meter Bozo Net.
Mike.
Okay, Frank, did you hear that?
Yeah, something VHI or something like that I heard. Just a reminder, Aaron just sent me a text, Mike. Don't let me forget. Give me a reminder tomorrow that I've got to do the Bozo Net streaming, so don't let me forget that. And the VHI or whoever it was, come again, please.
Yeah, that's KO6DHI, Merle. Merle, I'm having difficulty copying, so you'll have to listen for him, Frank. I've got power line noise, or the solar noise is brutal at the moment here. So it's KO6DHI, and he's in Modesto or Merced there. Go ahead, Merle, K6MYC, and the group standing by.
Oh, Roger. Okay, yeah, usually you probably get me a little better if you're pointing towards Oakley, but I thought I'd give it a shout here on this one here this time. 1124.
I got him loud.
Everything, I just want to jump in there and say good evening and say you're sounding good up this way again. Go ahead.
Okay, and your Bozo number 1124, is it?
34.
1134. Okay, I got solid copy on that, Merrill, except I misunderstood your Bozo number. Very good, we've got you, and thanks very much. I was pretty good copy on that time. You must have not had the antenna on me on the first transmission there, but sounded pretty good that time. Not bodaciously strong, but certainly readable. And so you sound like you're making a little headway there, over.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, well, I found out that my antenna switch was not like working with 6 meters, so I've totally bypassed it, and I'm running straight to my 6-meter beam right now, which made a world of difference. And in about 2 weeks, I'll be getting it up in the air a whole bunch higher. I just got a whole bunch of other projects that came up. Neighbor's dog decided to come through the fence, so I got to put a new fence in, and all that kind of good stuff, plus with work, so you know how it goes. All righty, Mike, it was definitely a pleasure talking to you. I'll let you get on there with the net, and you guys have a great evening down that way. 73 KO6 DHI Modesto.
Yeah, very good, Merle. Thank you very much for coming in, and you're making headway. I know how it is with all the little things that come up. We had a bunch of stuff that came up the last couple of days here that we weren't planning for, so I know how it can really disrupt your performance or your production or whatever you're trying to get accomplished on a certain day and stuff. Anyway, thanks, good copy, and thanks again for calling in. We'll look for you many times in the future, and then also on 2 meters there, Merle. KO6DHI in Modesto, K6MYC. Now, anybody else? I'm pointed up towards Sacramento looking for KR6MR.
KR6MR Bozo 759. Please get a hold of Dan, N6RZJ. He's been calling you over and over.
I heard him, but there was 3 or 4 others talking at the same time. So we'll pick up Dan as soon as we get you logged in here, John. KR6MR 759. And I did hear you, Dan. Don't give up on me. We've got locals, we've got people in all directions calling me here tonight. So I'm split in my attention and what direction I'm paying attention to. Although we are pointed right at you there, Dan. N6RZJ 939 K6MYC. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, good evening, Mike. In the net there. Nothing special. I'd like to just be in and out if I could. You got a good signal up here. Bill and Darren are both trying to get in as well. And I'll just pass it back to you and let you move on with the net. N6RZJ.
Okay, well, thank you. And I did hear you earlier. I heard your 939, but it was in with three other voices, so I knew you were floating around in there somewhere. Sometimes you can't believe how it sounds on this end. So don't get mad at me when I don't come back right away. And then sometimes with too many people in there, I forget somebody. I'm not infallible, that's for sure. Good to hear you, Dan, and we'll certainly look for you tomorrow night on 1296. That's the big band, 939 for Dan. And thanks again for popping in here on 6 meters. And 6R said Jay with KR6MR hanging in there and helping out, K6MYC. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Mike.
Okay, KO6KD, Bill?
Yep, KO6KD 776, over.
Yeah, we got your KO6KD 776, got you all okay. Not bodacious, but certainly readable. And I guess Darren is also in here. Take a transmission, and if you are copying Darren, you can turn it over to him, and I'll see if I can pull him through. He was very light on 222 tonight. Very poor conditions on 222 to you guys tonight. KO6KD, Roseville, K6MYC, over.
Yeah, well, I was getting my whistle ready just in case you could not hear me, so I would check in using my whistle and CW. So I'll get out of the way, 73 to you and everybody else on the net, and let you try to work there, and he should be listening, KO6KD.
Okay. Well, I'll shoot it down Darren's way and see if we can hear him, but solid copy on you. The audio just sounds thin. It's not your real full audio, bassy audio. It sounds thin, and your bassy voice does not come through at all on this in this mode. So for some reason that radio, I don't know. I talked to you on 40 meters on the same radio. Isn't that the same radio I work you on 40?
Yes, it is exactly the same radio.
I wonder why it sounds so much different on 6. It just doesn't have any body to it at all. I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, but I'm used to your other audio, which is fuller, over.
I don't know. It's exactly the same settings. The only difference is I am on upper sideband versus lower sideband. So maybe I need to go over and change the something to do with the filter settings on. I know I can adjust the sideband filters. I don't know. I have to look into that. Maybe I can get one of the fellows to go off frequency, and we'll try that. Nobody's complained about me on upper sideband because I never talked to anybody on upper sideband.
Yeah, well, that may be it. That's sort of what it sounds like. You're slid down the side of the filter. If you came up on the filter, on the corner of the filter a little bit better, it would seem like it would fill in the audio a bit more. You're off to the side just a bit, it sounds like, and slid down the curve of the pass band of that crystal filter or whatever's in there. Yeah, you might try that. I don't know if you can do that in the newer radios, and of course that one should be adjusted right, but maybe they just missed it by a little bit. Anyway, good thought on that one, Bill. Let's see, Darren, I'll see if we can hear you. KJ6KFB. KJ6KFB 756 K6MYC. Darren?
WB6JNP.
Hear you, Dane. Stand by. I hear you, Darren, but you're not readable. You're way down in the noise there, so band conditions are not very good there. All of a sudden, your signal on 6 is not doing too good here. I don't know what the problem is, but we got you logged in. KJ6KFB 756. Got you, Darren, and maybe we'll hear you tomorrow on 1296. Who knows? Hi. I don't think you're on 1296 yet. 73s, Darren, 73s, and thanks for being there. Sorry the copy isn't what it should be. And you were just not at all readable. No readability at all on 2 meters on 222. It was, I could tell you were there, so we have you logged in, but you were just not readable at all. So very poor conditions to your part of the country tonight. KEJ6JFB73K6MYC.
I can relay Mike, SRR.
Yeah, what did you have a comment, Rob?
I can relay what Darren's saying. He said, I guess I'm not making it, was the last thing he said, over.
Yeah, no, I couldn't copy him at all. So there's something about his location or something, and of course I've got that noise, the power line noise, which is quite severe. It's at least 15 dB stronger than the background. So that's probably what's killing him. Let's get Dane in here. Dane, good evening. WB6. WB6JNP 107 K6MYC. Go ahead, Dane.
Okay, nothing new to report from course hold, just, normal stuff. K6MYC, WB6JNP 107, and good evening, Judy.
Good evening to you, Dane. Yeah, even the noise is even getting to your signal. It's I put the blanker on and you're so distorted. It's hard to read. I turn the blanker off and you just about disappear. So it's 107. So we got you logged in though, but boy, conditions on 6 these days have been good. Now I worked at noon today. I worked 5 or 6 stations on sideband on 50.125. I didn't have any noise in the daytime. It was good. At this time of night, apparently that solar panel system of my neighbors just takes off, and it's just raucous in there and adding about 15 dB to my base. I'd be much more excited about it if I was doing moon bounce high. Thanks, Dane. WB6JNP, course gold, K6MYC.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, I didn't set the radio auto-tune on this, so it's living on the residual of what it did last week. So, anyway, we'll catch you later. K6MYC, WB6JNP, course hold.
Yeah, interesting. Right in the middle of that transmission, I thought you jumped your power up or turned the antenna or something, because all of a sudden you got rock-solid armchair copy, and I realized what it was the noise just went away. My friend's solar panel, or his inverter or whatever is making noise over there, went into another mode, and the noise just dropped right out, and my baseline dropped to 0, and there you were like 100%. Over.
Isn't that amazing how that works? I believe it was called figure of merit. We used to do the G over T calculations on satellite arrays. And, it's like we would fight for every last dB because of the reliabilities we were looking at. And, if you could get rid of noise, that was great. And the one that always got me was the twice-a-year occurrence of sun outages when the sun would pass behind the satellite and the sun generated more noise than the satellite generated power. And because of that, with the antennas, all of a sudden the picture would just go away. One day I was doing an alignment on a station, and I knew that we were coming up on sun outage, and we knew the exact time. So I just quickly went outside, looked at the feed horn, cast a shadow over it, went back inside, and the guy goes, "Are you done?" And I go, "Yeah, give it a couple minutes." And I go, "It just has to, warm up." And all of a sudden, boom, there was a great picture. And he goes, "How did you do that?" And it's like knowing the physics behind it.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, you looked at the shadow of the feed horn. It was right in the middle of the dish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a cast grain reflector, and the shadow off the subreflector was a nice symmetrical circle covering the feed horn, and it worked great. And it was amazing over years later. The number of people that worked on satellite systems that didn't know about that, and we had all of a sudden, especially in Iraq on flying planes off satellite, we would lose signal and people would panic. And first thing I did is went out and looked at the dish, and I go, "Give it about 3 minutes. It'll come back."
exactly. Oh boy, the satellite was right in line with the sun at that point where you were pointing. Yep, a lot of people don't understand how noisy the sun can be, particularly if you've got a really low noise system and you're squeezing for every tenth of a dB. Very good, Dane. Thanks for the history and the background on the sun noise and stuff. Now, well, my noise here is just coming from this solar generator down the street for me. One of these days, Frank and I will get in the Jeep and we'll go down there and see if we can fix this guy. If I could just knock it down 10 or 15 dB, it would make a huge improvement here, as it did when it went away. It wasn't gone completely, but it dropped from a pretty big spectral display down to nothing. Just a few little spikes coming up, and then all of a sudden you were just like perfect. 73 WB6JNP. Who else do we have here? Over.
KW6S.
Whiskey Alpha 6 Jacks, Kings, and 9s.
Okay, all the Gilroy boys and everybody. Santa Cruz is here. And N6RO, let me get you first. We missed you on 220. I thought you were ill or something because we didn't get you 2 nights in a row on the last 2 bands. Ken, how are you feeling? N6 Radio Oscar 835 K6MYC. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, N6RO 835. We had a really rough weekend here. Contest. Team leader came down with COVID, doing all my man stuff. I had the baton, let's say, signaled to log stations for an hour and a half, 24 hours, because of stupid and archaic rules for multi-signal that the ARRL insists on. Enough of my griping about that. Last night, well, the whole contest, I was standing by for the contest, 36 hours, no sleep, and it screwed my body clock up so bad. I went to bed yesterday at noon, got up at 9 o'clock. I heard TQL say that all quiet on the Western Front, and that you said I'm going to turn the beam down to south, and I tried to check in, but you had already turned the antenna. Now, 222, we have a problem with the transverter. I don't have the capability of troubleshooting it, but my chief engineer will be able to couple days. And I installed it, so he probably fix it. So I'm essentially off of 222 until we find out the problem. We postponed our transferring of the VHF stack to the new tower until Wednesday, but still not know if we're going to do it. My chief engineer got a bad back, and I got a bad shoulder, and the other guys got COVID, and just a mess. Anyway, well, hope I can get on 1296 tomorrow night, N6RO.
Okay, N6 Radio Oscar K6MYC. To tell you, Ken, but the guys have got your radio all screwed up from the weekend, and your copy is very difficult, even though you're loud enough. It doesn't have your AGC is not right, and all I'm getting is voice peaks that are just knocking the radio for a loop here, and then all the audio in between is weak. So it's a combination of 3 or 4 types of distortion. Not pleasant, but I got most of it. I understand that you have 222 problems, and we missed you timing-wise on 2 meters the night before, and also that you're going to be delaying the tower work till Wednesday. I got all that, so I got most of it, but it wasn't pleasant to listen to. Don't worry about fixing it now. Well, you're always much better sounding on the 9700 because they can't fiddle with that one, Ken. Over.
Yeah, that's correct. Well, anyway, we'll get the Flex expert over here and get the right settings in there to make it more readable. Anyway, good night. See you tomorrow. N6RO.
Yeah, Yeah, well, that was a little better, whatever you did. Yeah, I should turned up the audio level. That made it not being so bursty. Thanks, Ken. See you tomorrow. And we'll look forward to it. We should have some new people in on 1296. So we had quite a list last week. We got over 20, which was pretty good. N6 Radio Oscar, K6MYC 73.
Yeah, okay. It was the mic gain was too low. By the way, we made 1,400 contacts in IARU, mostly CW, and mostly on 20 meters. So it wasn't a disaster, but it was a rough one. See you tomorrow, N6RO.
Well, that's not a bad Q count. I don't know how you stacked up. You can tell me more about the results and how you stacked up with the others in the contest tomorrow. Thanks, Ken. K6MYC.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, I'm pointed toward Ken, but who else is copying K6MYC 6-meter Bozo Net? Over.
November 5, November Delta.
WA6 Juliet Kilowatt November, Gilroy.
Okay, we got you, Kevin. I hear you, Brett, and a couple of others. So a lot of people in here. Let me see if we can keep it a little quicker here. N5NPD. That's Brett. 1129. N5NPD, Brett. 1129, and we had. Yeah. We'll get you, Kevin, in a second there. Over to you, Brett. Take a short transmission and a big loud signal here, K6MYC.
Good evening, Mike and Judy. N5MPD, Brett and Newman. Yep, got some steaks on the grill, so I'll keep it short. So, have a great evening. Great to hear you. Very loud signal. N5MPD, 1129.
Okay, we got you. 1129, very strong tonight, very loud. Yeah, that's Brett.
Kevin.
Well, no, this is Brett that was just talking. Kevin is coming up next. Kevin is WA6JKM. And let's see, what was that number? I want to say 553 or 853 or something, Kevin?
Yes, pretty close, maybe. 1053, 1053, 1053. Kevin and Gilroy, boy, you got a nice signal tonight, Mike, and I did hear a few of the other stations that you were talking to, so that was a treat for me since I'm fairly new and trying to get things organized here with the antennas and stuff. So let's see, tomorrow will be 1296, so I'm not going to change anything other than what I did to the 1296 36 element Yagi, and I'm going to put that in place and see. I'm going to try to anyway. Depends upon what other chores I have going on. I did a lot of yard work today. That was something else, trimming trees and stuff, but had to be done. My gardener moved away, and I haven't found a replacement yet, so that means I have to do it, and that's okay. At least I remember how to do it safely. All right, 1296 tomorrow. I'll try to get on and see if that addition of the driven element and the reflector is going to do the job for me tomorrow. My ASL rotor from DX Engineering is supposed to arrive tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to getting my VHF, UHF antennas up a little higher and put it on the new rotor, and I should be in much better shape to be able to move things around in the shack. Right now, the only antenna that rotates is a 6-meter. That's the only one, and that's up about 35 feet, 40 feet, something like that. The other VHF, UHF stuff is just mounted on a ladder. It's only about maybe 4 or 5 feet off the ground. And so I'm surprised that you're able to hear me on 435 or whatever the frequency is in 2 meters. But there you go. And I think I'm going through a couple of houses down the block, just to get through to you in your direction. So I got to get it up above the roof, and that will make, I think, a lot of difference. WA6JKN, back to you, Mike.
Okay, very good. Did you download the manual so you know what the length of the reflector should be?
I sure did. As a matter of fact, I did that right after you mentioned it, and I have it. And so when I get to that antenna tomorrow, I'm going to make some measurements, and I should know where I'm at and what I need if I need anything.
Yeah, well, my guess is you'll probably have to cut about a ½ an inch off of it, but that's just a guess. All right. 7.3, it probably will function even though it may be longer, so if you can't get it, it shouldn't stop you from functioning. It may just knock the gain off a ½ dB or so if you're not right. All right, take care. Thanks for calling in, and good signal here on 6. I can hear you no matter where I point. Over.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm running about a full kilowatt here with the Mercury Lux and the ICOM 7610. That's the transceiver I'm using tonight.
Yeah, sounding good. Okay. By the way, I found in my storage bin, I was cleaning out a bin, and I found a nice case, a nice travel case for an amplifier. And I opened it up, and lo and behold, inside is a complete 6-meter, 1/2 kW amplifier with the power supply built in and everything. It's about 10 inches square and 3 inches thick. It's a beautiful little amplifier. End connectors in and out, PTT, all the normal stuff. Takes 2.5 to 5 watts of drive. 5 watts, get 500 out. Over.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Somebody's got to make a home for that. I'm looking for probably, what do you think, Mike? The 9700 doesn't really put out a whole lot of wattage on 1296. So, I guess I should look around for an amplifier to get it up to 100 watts or something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. One of them is made in England, I think. So I would just Google amplifiers for 1296 and see what comes up. I think Down East Microwave also makes some modules, but I don't think they go past 80 watts. And I think they're quite expensive, so you might want to look for the real honest-to-God transistor unit. I have one that's 2 transistors from W6PQL. It puts out 600. That's a dandy. That's what you really need, but it's not, of course, it costs more than 10 cents. Over.
Yeah. Well, that's what we live for. Yeah. If it costs more than 10 cents, it's worth buying.
There you go. All right. See you later. Thanks for calling in. We'll see you tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll hear you on 1296. I can't imagine that we wouldn't hear you, even with your 10 watts. Take care. And I'm missing somebody. Who did I forget to call in here on 6? K6MYC.
KW6S.
Yes, I did. That's it. KW6 Sugar. Good evening. Again, Tom, KW6S 610, K6MYC. And maybe we got Lee in here also. What do you think?
I'm not sure. AF6U, KW6S.
I don't hear anything from Lee, so maybe he's out of sorts tonight.
Yeah, he was on a net earlier, a local 10-meter net, but I don't remember him saying whether he's going to be on here or not. Yeah, I'm just working on the bench. I've forgotten how much I enjoy that.
Yeah, well, I was sort of doing the same thing this morning. About noon, I was getting everything ready for the net, and I had the 6-meter antenna pointed toward the north, where I normally start. And I was sitting here on 50.125, and lo and behold, somebody came on sideband and started to call CQ. I almost fell off my chair. Over.
Wow. I wasn't monitoring today. Somewhere like in Colorado or up north?
No, it was a Seattle station. I worked him, and then I worked a Canadian, and then 3 or 4 more Seattle or Washington State stations. So I worked about 5 guys on sideband all on 50.125. We were all congratulating each other for not running FT8, over.
Okay, well, like I say, I usually monitor FT8 and 125, and haven't been doing that here the last few days. I'm still working on a rotor.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, well, we'll let you go. One more call for Lee, AF6 United. Are you there, Lee? Lee's not there, so we'll have to give it away for tonight. Let's see. There's other stations probably in the Bay Area that I should be getting into. Bay Area, how about W6PQL and others in the Bay Area? K6MY.
I forgot to turn the amp on. There we go. Howdy, W6PQL.
Okay. I hear 2 voices, but I can't get the other one. I'm going to need help here, guys, because I've got noise. Write down W6 Papa Queen London, W6PQL 1296, Jim. And good evening, Jim. Making transmission. I'll see if I can tweak the antenna on you and get some of this noise out of there, over.
Yeah, you're a little bit down from normal, but you know the band, as happens with all the bands, that are up and down, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you can tweak the antenna a little bit, that'd be fine, but you're going to be tweaking it somewhere else in just a second anyway. But good copy here. I don't have any noise in your direction like you do in mine. K6MYC, W6PQL.
Yeah, really, it's about 2.4, Jim. That's how bad it is on 6 meters, and I've got just a little noise, but it's not severe. So the path is just really poor. Do you have anybody else that I should log in that you heard over so far?
No, anybody else in the Bay Area here that's hearing Mike, W6PQL, listening for you.
Okay, I hear Gary in there very weak. WB6WNI. Good evening, Gary. WB6 Whiskey, November, Italy. 1129. No, is that right? 1090, isn't it?
Well, today that's right from home. I'd like to go directly, but anyway, it's great talking again on 6 meters. Back to you, Mike.
Now, I can't copy you, Gary. You're going to have to give me just your Bozo number very clearly and repeat it 3 or 4 times. You're in the noise for me on my my poor reception here, over.
Roger, Roger. It is 1090. If you don't get it, you might have to
Okay, I got 1090, Gary, so we got you all okay. Terrible conditions here on 6 again. Not your signal, and it's partly my noise problem, but not very strong signals from the Bay Area. Jim PQL running 1500 watts is barely audible, so terrible, terrible conditions. Thank you, Gary. Thanks for checking in. Let's see if there's anybody else before we call the closure of the 6-meter net tonight. I thought we might have some Washington and Canadian stations popping in, but so far nothing. QRZ Bozo Net 6 meters beaming the Bay Area. Who else do we have? Kilowatt 6 Mike, Yankee Charlie.
WA6AXX, no traffic.
Well, thank you, Ed. You're very loud and easy copy. Finally. WA6AXX. That's 773, and well, you're way above everybody else, so we got good copy on you tonight with the direct path here. The knife edge path over the hills to the other stations is really poor. WA6AXX, K6MYC.
Okay, very good. Yeah, nothing going on here. Just a nice day, and that's about it. So still putting my shack together, not back together yet. So don't have the power amplifiers running on the other bands, but it'll take a little while. K6MYC, WA6AXX.
Yeah, okay. Well, it sounds like you're getting it back together. We'll see you tomorrow night on 1296, I'm sure. And we might make one call as long as you're there, see if there's anybody that I'm not able to hear or that's not hearing me very well. Just make another call and see if there's anybody left in the Bay Area for a 6-meter Bozo. Over.
Yeah, anybody maybe can't copy Mike, want to check into let's see, the 6-meter Bozo Net. WA6AXX listening for any check-ins. Go ahead.
KF6QCH 787, no traffic, no traffic.
Okay, I got you, Jerry. KF6QCH 787. KF6QCH, K6MYC. It's Q5, but marginal, Jerry. Over.
Roger, Mike. I can hear you. I can hear you about my noise. I got a lot of noise here, but I can read you and hear you. K6MYC, KF6QCH, over.
I'm sorry, it's not Jerry, it's Jimmy. It's Jimmy, right?
Roger that, Mike.
Sorry about that. I don't know where I picked up Jerry, but we got you, Jimmy. All okay. Yeah, you got noise and I got noise, and it's not making it very pleasant here on 6. Keep your ears on 6. There's been quite a bit of openings, E-skip openings around the west coast here, so you might have some fun tomorrow if you're listening. Around noon to mid-afternoon, it seemed like it was pretty good up north. 73, said Jerry, Jimmy, and thanks for checking in here. KF6QCH up in the San Francisco Bay Area. K6MYC, go ahead.
Roger, Mike. 775. Good night. I think WFC is in there too, over.
Okay, somebody else in there. Who is the other station? Go ahead.
Kilo Bravo 6, Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie.
Well, there you are. Good loud signal from you tonight, Mike. My goodness, you're good copy here. Of all people to be loud. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie 775. Pick it up, Mike. Over.
Good evening. Sorry I'm late, but I got the dinner bell, so I just finished up. So here I am. And it was a nice day today here in Daly City. It was, I think, in the 60s and no fog right now.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, we just touched a 100 here, so it was a nice, cool day for us here. Just touched 100, and an hour or so ago it was 96. So we're not doing too bad. A whole different world from your area. It's hard to believe that we would have that kind of temperature differential at 150 miles. Anyway, good evening to you, Mike. Nice to hear you here. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie for your final. K6MYC.
Yeah, I believe you were just wrapping up, so I'll let you go. It's been good. K6MYC, KB6 WFC 73. Good night.
Roger, 73, Mike. Thank you. And anybody else in the Bay Area with WA6AXX and myself listening, K6MYC. Nothing heard here, Ed.
Neither here.
Okay. See you tomorrow on 1296. 73, K6MYC. Rob, I think we're done here. KM6SRR, K6MYC.
Hey, Mike, I had a request for you to point down to Fresno. Aaron can barely hear you there, S3. So try that first, over.
Who's in Fresno that can barely hear me?
Aaron, K6USY.
Aaron, make a transmission.
Oh, I'm here, but I gotta hear you over the air conditioner noise that I got. So you gotta point a little bit farther west sometimes on 6 meters.
Talk.
He did, Mike. You said you got to talk a lot enough to get over his air conditioner noise. Over.
I heard what he said. I heard every word. I just want him to talk more so I can peek on him.
Oh, there you are. Now you're S9. Yeah, but mainly I just want to make sure that, I'm being heard at at your end, and it makes a big difference when you're pointed up north and you're only, a couple S units down here.
Okay, we'll get you checked in here, and also Brittany, Aaron, thanks for checking in. And I guess you'll be gone tomorrow, so this will be the last time we hear you for about 8 or 10 days, right?
Yeah, you'll hear me next Monday. I'll be in the air tomorrow night when the net starts, and then we got to get the car and drive. So yeah, we'll not be around, and then we get back next Monday early, like 10 a.m. So I'll be around next Monday.
Oh, okay, very good. Now, is there some coordination you have to do with Frank? Frank said something about that this evening. Remind me to talk to Aaron or something.
No, you just got to remind Frank not to forget. So that's why I texted him tonight, just to remind him that he's on the hook starting tomorrow night. Everything's already pre-scheduled. He just has to get in there before the net and get it started.
Okay, just remember, Frank, not to forget to remember. Or what? Okay, we'll keep him on straight and narrow there, Aaron. Thanks much. You guys have a great trip. We'll talk to you tomorrow night, probably briefly, on 1296. But if we miss you for some reason, why, have an enjoyable trip, and let us know all about Kentucky when you get back. Over.
Yep, Roger. Yep, yeah, I won't be on tomorrow. So, as I said, I'll be in the air, and then I'm not going to remote in why I'm out of town. So, we'll talk to you guys in a week. K6USY, Bozo 1100 and 1079. K6USY, DMO 6.
Okay, and you've got somebody taking care of the kids here. It's just you and your wife going?
Yes, sir. The kids will be over at the in-laws.
Okay, wonderful. Well, you get a little break there. You get a chance to learn what your wife's name is and what she's all about again, huh?
Yeah, this is we've done overnight trips without kids, but this is the longest period of time without kids since we got married 11 years ago.
Yeah, you mentioned 11 years the other night. Okay, well, it's good to see you at the meeting. We didn't get a chance to talk very much, but it was good to see you. And Judy got a big kick out of all the old antique equipment with the tubes and all the stories of the VWs and all the rest of that. So she had a lot of fun. Over.
Oh yeah, no, it's always a good meeting, and yeah, I got distracted because there was a young kid in the back of the room from Dinuba, and I wanted to make sure that I touched base with him and talked him into getting his tech license. So, being the VP, I get to be the ambassador for all the new people.
Yeah, no problem. I knew you were wandering around and very busy, so not to worry. The only way I can have a conversation with you, of course, or anybody else for that matter, is one-on-one, because between my eyesight and my hearing, I don't know who the hell I'm talking to. Over.
Oh yeah, I know how that is. I have auditory processing deficiencies, and I am terrible at a party. You put me in a noisy environment, and I can't hear anybody. So I totally sympathize.
Yeah. Okay. Enjoy your trip. Go ahead, Judy.
Enjoy your trip. Really enjoy each other.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be fun. So we don't leave till tomorrow afternoon. I got a doctor's appointment in the morning, and then we're gonna go drop the kids off, and then we're gonna go have lunch at the airport because our plane takes off at like 1:30. So I told the wife, it's like, well, let's get over to the airport and go eat lunch and just relax and enjoy not having kids. So we'll catch you guys in a week. K6USY, DMO 6.
Yeah, you'll have so much time you won't know what to do with yourselves. Ha ha. All right. Good night, Aaron. And over to you, Rob, for a wrap. KM6SRR in the group, K6MYC.
Okay, Mike. Should we count Ben in there, even though we couldn't make contact with him? He was on. Ben, N6SWR.
What happened, Rob?
Should we count Ben on our roster, N6SWR, even though we couldn't hear him? He was on. Over.
Yeah, we could put him in. Sure. N6SWR. N for November 6, Sugar Whiskey Radio. And he's 247. That's Ben in Bakersfield. Yeah, he gave it a try, and maybe I would have been able to hear him if I had turned down that way. But maybe we can get him to try again next week, Rob. Over.
All right, that sounds good. What do you have for count tonight? Over.
26.
okay. I got 27, huh?
You always get one more than me. Who's this fake guy you're always working?
I don't know. I hung around last night for a long time for N6RO, but I never heard him. I usually hang around for John, but let's see. Did John check in tonight?
Yeah, John was in, and I think we got 711 on here on 6. And N6RO was in finally. He has a broken transverter on 222, so he did not show there.
We don't have a 711.
Oh, we don't? Okay, well, we'll put 711 in. That's probably what happened. I did not hear John check in here, or if we did, we missed him. Sometimes Judy just heard him on 222, and she thinks she's already got him. Sometimes she doesn't know which speaker the audio is coming out of. I'm not making excuses for her, but it could easily be screwed up that way, particularly we were in that transition period around 8:15, Rob, over.
Yeah, I did not hear John either tonight. I was just saying I usually hang around for him, over.
Well, he was in. He came in. I remember hearing him.
6 meters tonight?
Well, if he wasn't there, he was there in spirit, so we'll put him down. That way we get 27 like you got.
I didn't count him, so that makes me 28.
Alrighty, we're kind of tired. We may go in and have a sherbet ice cream or something, and twiddle off to Bedsy by. But kind of interesting news with the J.D. Vance selection. I think that's going to be a good selection. J.D. Vance had an interview with Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity asked him every question you could imagine about everything they're going to be doing and everything about foreign policy and everything about the border. And he had answers, bing, bam, boom, just like that. He was just sharp as a tack and right on it. And he didn't know until earlier today that he was going to be selected.
20 minutes before.
Yeah, about 20 minutes before they got on the air or so. I mean, this guy is just on it. He knows what he's doing. He's sharp. He's a Yale graduate along with being a Marine and all the rest of that. So he's been around. He's not a young guy. He's probably pushing 50, 45 to 50. He's been around. He knows what's going on. He's very sharp. And he was a convert. He didn't like Trump at all in 2016. But he watched what Trump did and how he did it, and he became a convert. He said, boy, I watched the guy, and he did what he said he was going to do, and he did it well. And all of a sudden, the nation's cooking and cranking. And he says, I couldn't help but apologize for my statements. And Trump, they talked about it later, I guess, when they've had many conversations between he and Trump. And Trump just kind of laughed it off. But it was a good thing to hear, because here's a convert, and boy, he's a solid Trump lover now, over.
Yep, that's what I heard. I think they said he was 39, so he's a younger guy, so nobody can complain about the age there, over. Or maybe it was 37, over.
Yeah. Well, he's been around the horn a lot for his age, so he's very experienced, very well spoken, and bright as a tack, and very, very eloquent for being from Ohio. That's not to degrade Ohio, but some of the folks there are running a little bit slower in terms of their verbiage. He rattled it off real quick, but still very fluently and very understandably. So he knows what's going on in every aspect of the world, and I'm sure he's so close to being able to take over if he had to. If Trump was killed or something after he becomes president, I'm sure Vance would step right in and know what's going on. And I think you're going to see a world of difference between the Vice President Vance and Kamala Harris as the Vice President. You're going to see somebody that really is productive and efficient and effective in every respect in that administration, over.
Yep, I think so too. So you mean he's from that place in Ohio that doesn't have very good guys like Obama?
Obama's from Chicago.
Oh, okay, that's right. Illinois instead of Chicago. Okay, Ohio. Okay.
Most people in Ohio are okay. There was a governor there that was kind of a modest Republican, or a modicum. and they've had some flaky peoples out of Ohio, and of course they've had their share of trouble. That's where that big train wreck that was contaminated so many people. Paris. It wasn't Paris, Ohio, but it was near there. And so they've had their share of problems. But no, he's very good, very eloquent. Over.
Yep, that's what I heard. The other one, I don't know if it was Marco Rubio or not, but they were saying, Levin was saying they're both very elegant people, so you could go with either one.
Yeah.
Somebody said that Trump has an important place for all of the 6 people that he was thinking about VP, and Mark Rubio was top mentioned that he had some important spots for these people.
Yeah, it depends on who he makes in the State Department, head of the State Department. That's going to be an important pick. But J.D. Vance grew up in Appalachia. He was a victim of a very broken home with a very bad father. And so he came from a very, very disturbed background and turned out to be phenomenally good, very intelligent guy. Yeah, and his grandmother apparently very bright, very, very sharp lady. He said she swore like a sailor, but she was really a true very religious woman, but she said she had a mouth like a sailor. I cracked up when I heard that. But she's the one that raised him, and he gives most of the credit to her. Anyway, you'll hear more about him as time goes on. I think he'll be impressed. 7-3, Rob, good evening, and we'll talk to you probably tomorrow on 1296. KM6SRR, K6MYC.
Okay, Mike and Judy, K6MYC, KM6SR, 73. Enjoy your dessert.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty, good night to everybody on YouTube. K6USY, closing out the stream, DNMO6.
Good night, Aaron, K6USY.